Hi, take it from Tatum. So, today's topic is talking about a narcissistic mother, how to survive a narcissistic mother, how to deal or not deal with a narcissistic mother. Some of the signs that actually helped me, and I looked it up on the internet, and unfortunately, it's a website called The Narcissistic Life, which I don't understand why it's called a lifestyle, but to each his own. But I wanted to share with you some of the signs that I was able to recognize that my mom was a narcissistic mother. In fact, that she had a mental illness. It violates your boundaries. You feel like an extension of her. There is no privacy in your bathroom or bedroom. She regularly goes through your things to find information she then uses it against you. Wow, I'm so sorry. It's like talking about this is like bringing up like reoccurring emotions that I had before. Around the time where I knew that my boundaries were being violated is when my mother, me and my sister door broke in our room, and we just pretty much were able to have our own room. And she said she didn't want to fix it, so she took the whole entire door away. So I'm living in a house with absolutely no door. And keep in mind that we had an uncle. That's another story. But we had an uncle who was living there. We had men who would come in and out from either them dating my auntie or them dating her. And to have a sense of no privacy as a girl and have to have like our door open like that made me feel like controlled way too much than I needed as a teenager. Like for years, I'm going to take the whole entire door off, so that way when she will be able to see everything that we would do. It was never a sense of privacy. There was times where I would write in my diary and my mother would go and she would read through them. She would check underneath my mattress where I would leave certain things. She would check inside of one of my most private cases, like anything that you had as a teenage girl. She would search through every little thing, every book, every pocket, every drawer, every underneath your bed, underneath your sheet. And then she will find something and she will use it against me. I'm not the best reader. So everything that she does is deniable. Like she can do something to you as a child, or she do something to you behind people's back, but then she act like it never happens. She creates this image of you that is just very, very dark. And then when people meet you that's on her side, they've already met the personality. So really you can't do nothing about that, but they already met the personality that she created about you, because normal narcissistic people, they victimize themselves. One of the things that she denied was, I remember when I told her about how she allowed my older cousin to abuse me. And when I was holding on, well, let me tell you the story what my cousin did. So I used to pee in a bed as a kid, and my older cousin, who was a part of the military, used to come over and visit. And for a whole entire week straight, she would take me downstairs and she will put me on my knees and smush my face in my own urine to the point where I couldn't even breathe. And as I'm being smothered, I'm getting spanked on my butt with a belt, like beat on my butt. So not only I'm lacking oxygen, I can't breathe. I can't breathe, and I'm getting beat like a slave and whatever. And each and every time I would yell and I would scream and I would say, "Mom, help me, help me, help me." And I remember seeing her on the kitchen table, and she would just smirk and laugh, like she was like cynical and whatever, right? And then years later, we already talked about it. People were wondering why I did not want to talk to a shower and whatever, why I didn't want to talk to her, why am I have this such hatred. And I was like, well, this is what happened. And when you guys were trying to get her to teach me how to not pee in the bed as a kid, that this is what she did to me. And so years later, she found out that I was holding that resentment, and she wrote a letter to me. And it was a nice letter. It was taking accountability for her abuse that she did to me, because she felt like that's what she was taught. And that's fine. I was taught a whole lot of shit, and I still don't do it right now. But whatever. That's another story. So I accepted apology, but one thing I won't do is accept my abuser back in my life, no matter if it's my cousin or not. So I accept apology. My mother was quite aware of this letter. She never really said anything about it. She never apologized for the fact that she allowed it to happen to her child. We talked about it again, but when it came to talking about it in front of my grandmother, she totally denied it. She was like, that didn't happen to you. And I was just like, I said, you allowed someone to smother me and beat me and put my face in my own urine. I could not breathe. And she's like, that didn't happen. You're a liar. And I at this point, I was able to control my temper at the time, because I wasn't no longer anger anymore when I was able to read this list and understand that my value is not in a mentally sick person. And if your father doesn't take care of you, if your mother treats you like the black sheep and blames all her problems on you, I realized none of that connected to me. So I was able to heal. So I didn't want to spaz out on her. I think I got to the point, because I used to yell and fuss and different things like that, but I got to the point where I just laughed. I just laughed because it was just ridiculous. You're not going to tell me that I wasn't abused. You're not going to tell me that you allowed that to happen. You're not going to tell me that you said, as I was screaming your name, you're not going to tell me that didn't happen. So I just started laughing at her. I said, do you realize what you just said? And she said, I'm going to call her. I said, so you're telling me that I'm lying about my abuse, and that you're going to call her to prove to me, you're going to call my abuser to prove to me that I did not get abused. Okay. Do you hear what do you hear it? Do you hear what you're saying? Because sometimes, like, when you're talking to narcissistic people or people that don't want to take accountability for their actions, I'm like thinking, like, do you have hearing issues? Like, are you really serious? Are you really this batshit crazy? Just let me know. Are you fucking batshit crazy? This pretty much kind of rides off of the first one. She makes you look crazy. When confronting her with something she's done, she tells you that you have a very vivid imagination, a common phrase that abusers use to invalidate your experience of their abuse, or that she has no idea what you're talking about, right? So that goes back to her saying that, my abuser didn't abuse me. You're a liar. You're lying. So anyway, number 8, she's jealous. If you get something nice, she take it from you, spoil it for you, or get something the same or better for herself. So yes, I had experience where my mom showed jealousy. I can't even pinpoint, because there were so many times, and so many instances. I can tell you a little bit of what she did, and I wouldn't even classify it as jealous towards me. I just classify it as, like, it's just weird. Her husband at the time, I seen them at Ross, and I guess he was, my mother is a heavy-set woman. Unfortunately, not that attractive, to be honest.
I think I go too far. Fuck no, give him hell.
He's looking at some sweatpants that is much smaller than what she'll be able to fit. And it looked kind of like, I don't know, just maybe like his daughter or something will wear it or something like that. And he has children in Africa. And she said, what are you looking at that for? Why are you looking at that? I can't fit that. You shouldn't be looking at that. And I said, just to make things light, I was like, well, maybe he's like trying to like buy nice stuff for his stepdaughters, which would be me and my sister and whatever, right? And he was like, he better not buy nothing for you. I'm the only person he's supposed to buy. God, what a freak. She manipulates your emotions in order to feed on your pain. The behavior is common amongst narcissistic mothers that are often referred to as emotional vampires. It was so funny because I was actually going to do a video about emotional vampires, but I decided to do this because it was more closer to me. And she would say things like, that when you have kids, I'm going to take them away from you. Like that, stuff like that. But anyway, I should really just like focus on going to the website and seeing like the rest of the stuff, because I want to talk about how can you heal from it? How can you move past having a narcissistic mother? One of the things that I've done is absolutely cut her off. Like, I completely cut her off because I realized that it would be becoming a trend where I would think that she's changed. I would think that she's, I would think that she will be, like, healed or wanted to heal our relationship, but then she'll go back into doing some shady shit. Like, she would just keep on doing it. It was no changing for her. Or she'll go to her grave not ever apologizing to a daughter that she just treated like shit. There was a time when my mother was a good mother, but that's when I was performing and I was, on television. She becomes a real good mother when she sees me on television. But what I did was I had to read a lot of books about positivity, about like law of attraction, who you have around you affects your mentality. But I had to disassociate my value with the fact that my mother did not love me the way that I needed to be loved. Like, just letting go that idea and that perfect picture that I wanted from a mother. You have to let that go. And there's times where you can keep your mother in your life. You don't have to get rid of her, but you have to create boundaries and distance from her. And when she starts disrespecting those boundaries, you disappear. Then you come back as a reward. You almost have to treat them as a child. So if you have a narcissistic parent, if you have a narcissistic sister, treat them as like a mental patient. And if it takes your mental down, then what you have to do is you have to completely let it go, because you can't sacrifice the rest of your life.
Fuck what anybody else got to say about you or to you, because half the people that judge you don't even like who they are.